Good afternoon, everybody. How the devil are we? I've got my window open in my craft room, so if you can hear too many birds singing, let me know and I'll shut it. But it's a bit heavy today for some reason. It's just a bit too close. Hi, Connie. Hi, Kim. Hi, Hazel. Hi, Janet. Nice to see you. Hi, Erica. Hi, Donna. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Teresa. I made it. Hi, Josephine. Hi, Val. Hi, Margaret. 1402 Minka. Now, I've not seen that name before. Welcome if it's your first time. Thank you very much for joining us. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Jean. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Evelyn. Hi, Carol. Hi, Gillian. Hi, Lorraine Sanders. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Wendy. It's nice to see so many of you here again. Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. So on Monday, I said I was going to be using the same product again today, just because it's nice to give you as much inspiration as we can for a new product. When I say new product, I mean there have been Edgecutz dies before from Lisa, and this is just one in the set, I suppose. But whatever you can do with this particular one, you can do with any of the Edgecutz. They all work in exactly the same way, but just because it's an Edgecutz, don't think it means you've always got to use it on the edge of your page or the edge of your card. You haven't. You hope you've got an Edgecut die in your staff. Can be rectified, Janet. I know these aren't on Lisa's website yet, and I did have a look at Create and Craft the other day, and this was the only one that was still available. I'm not sure why, because I think it's a beautiful Edgecutz die, but I'm not sure whether it's still there. I haven't looked this morning, I've got to be honest, but it was the only one that was available. All the others sold out, as Lisa's stuff does these days. Hi, Susan. So I'm using this one, but you can use any of your Edgecutz dies to do what I'm doing today. Okay, it doesn't have to be this particular one. Okay, so that's the one I'm using. I'm also using the same sticker sentiments that I used on Monday. Not available anymore, I know, but you will have lots of sentiments in your stash. I'm thinking particularly of the ones that came with the washi set. There are loads in there, and also the box kit. You know, the beautiful Modern Florals box kit that came out. There'll be loads of sentiments in there as well. But your tatty words, they'll work equally as well. There's lots of sentiments in Lisa's arsenal, shall we say, that you could use. So it doesn't have to be those particular stickers. I'm also using the bold words. They are still in stock on Lisa's website. I'm assuming, I know Lisa's here. I'm assuming these are coming back in that fabulous delivery you're waiting on, because they're not on your website. So I'm assuming they might be coming back on that order. I don't know. But you know, you don't have to use dies. I said to you on Monday, you don't have to use dies to cut your card. You can just cut it down. You've seen Lisa do it often enough on demos. She just cuts it down using a trimmer. So you know, you don't have to use dies, but these are a beautiful set to get if and when they come back. And then I've used the nested scalloped and stitched rectangles on a couple of my cards, and they are still in stock as well because I've checked this morning. Okay, I'm going to be using my tacky mat, so I'm just going to take my acetate cover off there, and I'm going to be using my tacky mat on a couple of the cards that I'm doing today. Now, a couple use inks and a couple aren't using inks. Okay, let me just put that light back on because everybody said it was better on Monday. So I'm just gonna, I know you can see it on here, but you won't in a minute. So let's do the stenciling first. Now, I did show you one of the pieces of stenciling. Let me reach it. Well, I showed you two actually on Monday that I was going to do. Unfortunately, the one on black card has dropped down between my two pieces of furniture, and I can't reach it. I tried for ages on Monday. I just saw it slip and thought, oh, isn't that just typical? But you know, never mind. These are the colours I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using these on black and white card just to show you really the difference on your finished card look. Nobody says leaves have to be green and flowers have to be pink, do they? So it's just a different way of using your inks and making a different look. Okay, so black and white. But before we do those, I'm going to do two others with you. I'll just move that to one side. So this first one here, this is where I used the nested rectangles. Okay, and I've cut a base rectangle because this piece here is one of Lisa's dotty papers that she bought out right near the beginning of her journey, and they were beautiful papers, but you know they're long not in stock, so you know I can't ever see these coming back. But I wanted to make sure that this piece and the piece that with the die on matched the size of the rectangle that I wanted to use. So that's why I've cut a base one. Plus the fact that this is paper, albeit really thick, good quality paper, I didn't think that would give it enough stability. Okay, so I've used that as a base to give this more stability as well. Oh, that was a nice posty day then for you, Evelyn. How fabulous. Right, so I've cut the rectangle and I think I went for the biggest one, if I'm honest. Might have been the next one down. And you can see that it fits that little black card, which is an A6 card. But there's sort of a gap at the top and the bottom. I'm not worried about that. I know that they say when you've got that, make sure you've got a bigger gap at the bottom because it looks better. I don't know why, but that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down, and then I'll show you the piece that I've cut into cream card that's got the die in it. Okay, so these are just sort of a couple of little quickie cards, and then we'll get on to stenciling with our die cut. So you don't even have to use it as a die cut on your card. You can just use it as a stencil. and I think that's a really cool way to use it as well. So I'm going to pop that down there, and then this one was cut into cream card, okay? But what I did was I put a piece of green card behind it, and then I fussy cut around this edge, okay? I mean, if you look carefully, you can tell I fussy cut it, but man, blind, horse, galloping, rearrange that well-known phrase or saying. And then I'd cut another flower in dark brown. So I'd cut another of the dies in dark brown. So I kept the pieces and I've paper pieced the flowers in here in dark brown. So it all matches my colour theme. Okay. So, and again, I've cut it with the rectangle die, but I've only cut what I need. Okay. So this is just cut. If I get my die out and show you what I mean, just make sure I get the right one. Yeah, it was the biggest one. So I've just placed my die on my card, and I know that that's sort of where I want my flower to sit in my card. Okay, so this piece doesn't matter how big this piece is because you're going to cut it off anyway. So that's why I used the base card cut out, so that I knew that this piece was going to be big enough to go behind that flower without you being able to see the craft card. Are you with me? Okay. Hi, Jodie. So I'm just put my die out of the way. So I'm going to add this down here like this, and you can see then that it's sort of got a pattern behind the die, and then the green is sort of already showing the leaves. Now I know the green comes here with the sort of little bud things, but I'm going to put gems on there, and I'm going to put gems in the middle here as well. Okay, so while I glue this down, I've also added a sentiment. Now I couldn't make my mind up. I know which one I would choose, but I want you to make the decision. All right, so I've got 3 sentiments, same word. I've got green on brown, brown on green, obviously all tying in with the colour theme, and cream on brown. Okay, so you decide that the sentiment is going to go about here. Okay, so you decide, while I'm just gluing this down, which one you think is going to look best on this card. I know which one I would go for, and it was actually the last one that I did. So I'm not going to tell you what order I did them in either. Sorry if I'm a bit croaky. I've had a bad throat all week. So I'm just going to add that down, and obviously your stitching is going to line up, so you know you're going to get it in the right place. And then just hold it down for a couple of seconds, just so that it takes. Green, brown. Oh gosh. Now you see, why can't you all say the same one? I don't know. I ask you a question and you all come back with different answers. Green and brown, green and brown. That's not much help, Connie, is it? You like them both. Yeah. Well, looking quickly and sort of doing a quick tot up, I'm going to go with this one, because whilst I shouldn't have asked. No, you're quite right, Linda. I shouldn't. Whilst I did these 2 first, once I put them down, perhaps if I put them down, you might think again. Once I put them down, I didn't think that these 2 looked quite right, because I've got this brown here with the sort of cream dots. I think this one stands out the best, because the cream matches this cream and the brown will match my flowers, but it will also complement the brown dotty paper as well. So I'm going to go with cream on brown. Ask the man on the horse. Nah, he rode past far too quick, Carol. He never noticed. He didn't see the choices. So what I'm going to do now, just before I put that sentiment on, is I'm just going to add some little gems just into the centres of the flowers and just into those little buds there. So I'm going to use green because I don't have any brown ones, and the centres of the flowers would be a different colour anyway. I suppose I could use yellow, but I'm gonna stick with the green, just so that I'm not introducing another colour really. I don't want to sort of confuse the issue and add in another colour really. So you reckon, do you, Connie? Right, so I think we'll go, I'm going to tip these out just so that it's a little bit easier. I think we're going to go with the larger one on there and there, and then we'll go with smaller ones, because I think there are 3 sizes in these gems, and again I haven't checked to see if any of these are still in stock. I very much doubt it, but you know, I'm sure you've all got gems of some description. I'm sure a lot of you have got some of Lisa's gems, if I'm honest, because they have been out for a while. So we'll go a little bit bigger with that one, and we'll go a little bit bigger with this one down here. And really it's just to add a little bit of an accent to the card, just to sort of lift it a little bit. You know, it doesn't take much to just lift a card from, oh that's nice, to oh wow, I like that. So that's why I use the gems. So I'm just going to add this down here. I could 3D some of this, but on this occasion I'm not going to, because if I'm making a smaller card, I'm making a smaller card so that it's easier to post. So if it's easier to post, why would you then go and add 3D pads that are going to make it sort of a little bit thicker to post? So that's why I've gone with just flat on this one. Okay, so there you go, that's my first one. And I just think it's so simple, but it's so effective, and I definitely think that stands out better because of the brown paper behind. If this had been cream as well, then I might have used one of the others, but I think this one has, and I did this one last, so I think this one looks a little bit better, if I'm honest. So that's the first one. Stand up there. And then this one is even more simple. This is just a 6x6 card, and this is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, so it's just going to sit in the middle here really beautifully. And this is a shaving foam background that I did ages and ages and ages ago on a live. Had so much fun making these. But these are, you can use your re-inkers to do this. So just put your shaving foam in a sort of a box or something, and then drop your re-inkers in, swirl it round a bit, and then just put your card on the top. And then as you lift your card off, the ink will stay on your card. And I mean, your shaving foam will look a hot mess after you've done one or two, but it is a really good way of making some quick background papers. So this is going to go down here like so, and like I say, it's a square. It's 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and my card is 6x6, or just under. And this is just really, this was a piece of scrap card that I had. Now I just need to decide which way I want it. That way, I think. Okay, and you'll see why I've sort of moved it round to get as much colour over here in a second. So glue that down. You will have a tiny bit of wiggle room just to make sure it's straight, but you won't get much because this is Lisa's fabulous high-tack glue, and I personally don't use anything else, so it's not going to go anywhere. So you will have a little bit of wiggle room to move it around on your card if you need to. Okay, so then all I've done is, and you can see this is where I've had my brown flowers from, all I've done is cut this on the diagonal. This again is 5 1/4 piece of card square, and I've just put the die across the diagonal. I've got the die here somewhere. So I've just put the die across the diagonal, making sure that the cut edge is on the piece that I don't want to keep. Okay, so I've put it through my die cutting machine like that, and then I've got rid of this piece. Okay, so that goes back up there, and this is quite literally simply just going to add down onto that square. And I think the background here, I know Lorraine did something similar with Modern Florals paper. I think she used the orange dotty one, which looked really good. So I just went through what I'd got in my stash as regards sort of background papers or card or whatever, and I found my shaving foam backgrounds, and I thought, yeah, they're perfect, so we'll use that. So I've picked out the part of the piece of card with the most colour in. That's why I was particular about which way up it went. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on the edges here because I don't want it to lift, like I said to you on Monday. So tiny little bit on the edges. And again, like I say, you can use this technique on any of your edge cuts. It doesn't have to be this one, it could be any of them, even the older ones that have been out for a while. Okay, I'll just put a little bit on there. And then I'm quite literally just going to add this into the corner here, making sure that I line it up so that you can't see any of that card under the edges, like so, and then just press that down. And again, I'm just going to add in some little gems, but I'm not going to use the yellow and the green. I'm going to use the gold because I think the gold are really going to stand out on here. So let's just add in our, and you can see that I'm actually filling these little apertures with glue so that I've got enough glue for my little gem to stick to, because obviously this is a recess, so if you don't put enough glue in, your gem isn't going to stick to anything. So we'll go with the gold on the large one, there and there, and then we're going small ones on the centres of the flowers. And this is so quick, so easy. You know, you could have a little die cutting session and just spend, then you've got dies to spend time just putting cards together. And I just think that's a cool way of spending a little bit of time. I just need to make sure I've got some more of the right size to go on those there. One more. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to finish it off with one of the sticker sentiments. So I've used gold on white and backed it onto the same brown card, and that is literally just going to go down here in the corner. I am just going to add an extra couple of gems in the top corner just to balance it out slightly. So we're just going to go one here and one here, and we're going to use the small ones just to add a little bit of interest up the top there. And again, another quick, simple way of using that die, but without having to worry about inking it or die, you know, paper piecing or whatever. I think as a standalone die, just on its own, I think these are fabulous. Okay, they're perfect for quick and easy cards. Okay, so that's the second one. So let's get to our stenciling. I'm just going to push those up there out of the way. I'll sort those later. Just hope I don't shove them all onto the floor in between now and the time I've finished. So I'm using my tacky mat, as I said, because my stenciling is I've die cut my shape, okay, and I've just used a piece of scrap card. Doesn't really matter what colour it is because you're only going to ink over it anyway. But I've just cut that out in the middle of the piece of card. So I've given myself a surround so that I don't risk going over the edge and getting ink where I don't want it. And on the back, I've just taped some of the little edges so that they don't lift, okay, because the last thing you want is ink through your lines where you don't need it, okay. So we're doing 2 cards. We're doing black on white and white on black. So let's do the black one first. So I'm going to put my card here. Now obviously I've got no pegs in this. I could have put the peg die on and cut some peg holes, but I didn't. So I'm just going to put my card down there. Now all I've got to decide is, do I want it straight or do I want it on an angle? I think on these occasions I'm going to put it straight. And to make sure that I've got it sort of in the centre of the card, I'm actually going to hold that up and see if I can see the... I can't really. If you're using a white card, you'll be able to see through this. Let me just see if I can see through the stencil on the white card, and then I can probably put it in more or less the same position. Yeah. So if I lift that up to the light, I can see where it's going to be. You won't be able to see this, but if I lift this up to the window or my light, I can see the stencil behind this white card, okay? So what I can do then is take my black card, put it in the same position, and then move my white card out of the way. I'll flip it over. That way I know that I'm more or less in the right place, okay? So I'm going to make sure it's straight, which it is. I'll pop it down there, and then hopefully this fabulous little tacky mat will hold my card where I want it. If it doesn't, because it's not going to hold, what you have to remember is this is a piece of card on top of a piece of card. So I haven't really got much in the way of leverage. If you want to be 100% certain that it's not going to move, just add a little bit of washi tape. It's not going to make any difference. Okay, and that's purely and simply because the texture card is thick and this card is thick, so I'm just sort of belt and braces really, if you like. Okay, so colours. Let me just put up the colours that I've used. Let's just take that off and put that on. Okay, so as I said, I'm using the same colours on my black card as I'm using on the white card. Glue has arrived, available later in the week. Fabulous, thanks Lisa. No worries Julie, you know we're always there, so you can always catch up later. Okay, so if I use my one that I showed you as my sort of template, if you like, I'll take the lids off here, like that. I've got my brushes already. I'm using stencil brushes all the way through on this, okay? So I'm just going to pop those on there because hopefully they won't move now because they're on my tacky mat. And then we're just going to stencil. So I'm going to do the flowers first. And I'm starting right in the middle and I'm going in with yellow. Now don't forget, these dry pretty quick, okay? So just be generous with the ink on your brush. And as soon as you add more ink, it will reactivate the ink you've already put down. Okay, so don't worry about it drying out. Just keep going, keep reapplying, and it will just reactivate what you've already put down. Okay. Now these little pieces here are part of the petals. They're just hidden by the other flowers. Okay, so just look at your die before you start and decide what's what and what's where. Yes, Linda, they are. They go like this, you know, at sort of this time of day. and they go a little bit mad, and then all of a sudden there's nothing. It's so weird. So these little pieces here, I'm gonna do these yellow as well, just because I can, really. But they do look nice when they're finished in yellow. You can use whatever colours you like. These are just the colours I chose, and really I chose the colours for the black card. Okay, so when it's done in black, my colours will be sort of proper colours, if you know what I mean, rather than fantasy colours like this. Okay, so I've done the centres of the flowers. Now I'm going to come out and do the outside of the petals. Okay, now for this I'm going to use the Mermaid Lagoon. Excuse me, sorry. I might actually start with, no, I can't stick with a smaller brush. I'm just going to come in from the outside with that Mermaid Lagoon, and I'm just going to keep going back and adding ink. Okay, and I want it to blend in to that yellow centre. Okay, so this is why I'm using the smaller brush rather than the larger brush, because I don't really want to go right the way over the yellow. I'd like to keep some of that yellow, but I can always go back over the yellow afterwards when I've finished. So I'm coming in again from the edges of the petals towards the centre. I do love these interference inks, and they're so clever. So we're coming in from the edge into the centre, and again, this is really quick and easy. It's just a different look, and it's just without actually having the die on your card. So like the other two have actually got the die on the card, and this one hasn't. This has just got the suggestion of the die, but I do think it looks really quite cool. So we'll just go with that, and then we'll do the leaves. Now I'm using for this one Lavender Fields, because on black card, although this looks purple, this is going to work out green. Okay, and again, just keep adding your ink. It will reactivate what you've already put down. It's dead quick and it's dead easy. You know, you don't have to be too precise. Be as precise as you like, really. It's still going to look fantastic when you take this stencil away, and then when you do it on white card, and it's going to look completely different. I just think it's really cool. Really clever idea. Mona did what? That's an unusual screen name, shall I say. Welcome. So I'm just going around all these leaves with this beautiful Lavender Fields, and I am using sort of circular motions, stroking motions. It doesn't really matter. All you're aiming to do is fill those little apertures with that ink. Okay, so nearly done. Now I don't know about these little gaps here, whether to leave them or do them green and pretend they're leaves. I don't know. I've done them on there, but I think I might be tempted to just leave them out. Because it's a stencil, nobody's going to know you've left it out. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So before I just take this off and do the reveal, I am just going to go back over this yellow and just bring it out into that purple. Don't worry about a little bit of contamination on your ink pad. If you use a little piece of kitchen towel afterwards, you can wipe that little bit of colour that I've got on there, you can wipe that off, and it will just disappear. So don't worry about a little bit of contamination. It'll be absolutely fine. Okay, So I'm going to lift that up like so. Look at that. How fabulous does that look? Isn't that? I just think that's so beautiful. Not because I've done it, because of the inks. The inks just give you such a fabulous finish. No worries, Connie. Hope you're going all right, lovely. I just think that is really beautiful, don't you think? So I'm going to put that to one side so that that ink has a chance to dry while we do the white one. Okay. So again, I'm just going to line this up. I'm going to flip that over, line that up on there so that it's more or less in the right place. Turn it over and just stick it down. Okay, now this is going to look completely different because it's on white card, and all the colours that you see here are the colours that you're going to see on your white card, not like you do on your black card. And that is the beauty of these interference inks. They are just genius. So we're going to start in the middle like we did before with that yellow. You can see I'm actually using a different brush because obviously I've contaminated this by using it over the top of that green, but it will come off that ink pad. Don't worry about it. Just use a little bit of kitchen towel, something like that, and just wipe it off till it's disappeared. And I'll show you when I've done these. I will show you what I mean, just to prove I'm not just making it up. Okay, so then we're coming on to these flowers here. So again, going back to that, we're going back to this one. See, because I can see purple here, I want to put purple here, but I can't. So this is going to be green. Okay, so again, I'm coming from the edge of that card into the centre, and this is where obviously where the contamination on my brush came from here. But as I say, it will go, it will disappear, don't worry about it. So again, I'm just going all the way around, and you can see how the ink will dry on my brush. Okay, as I'm working with it, you can see it drying. Okay, just add more ink to your brush, go back and reactivate the ink that you've put down there. Okay, it's as simple as that, and it's such a fabulous effect. It might take a little bit longer than the blending inks because these do dry quickly, as I said, but I think it's worth the extra little bit of time that it might take you just to finish off with a fabulous effect on your cards. So you can see that as I'm working with this, how it's drying on my card. But as soon as I add more ink to my brush, it reactivates what's already on the card. Okay, nearly there. Just that last little one to do there. I could spend more time, but I don't want to. I don't want to keep you here for longer than we need to. So again, we're going back with that lavender fields. Now this is the one that when it's on black card, it'll look green. When it's on white card, this is the colour you'll get. And I just think it looks dead cool. So if you wanted to send something that's, you know, a little bit fantasy, a little bit different, out of the ordinary, then why not? I've missed me a little bits of yellow there, didn't I? Let's go back and put that yellow in there. It's better. And then just go round and fill in all those leaves a bit at a time. Thanks, Bonnie. And then you don't have to throw this away. You can reuse it. Obviously, you're going to have to be mindful of the fact that there is interference ink on here, and when you add more interference ink in a different colour to another card, you are going to get the ink that's already on your stencil probably bleeding through into the colour that you're using. So I would always say use a darker ink the next time you use it. It's going to last you a couple of uses. You could even just make a batch of all the same colour and then throw it away. You know, it's a piece of card at the end of the day. You could even flip it over, cut it out properly, and use the other side so that it faces the other way. That'll just give you another different look. So there's lots of different ways of using the die. You don't have to use it as an edge cut. You don't have to use it as a die. Just think outside the box and the world's your oyster, as they say. So I think that'll do. But as I did on the black one, I am just going to go back with that yellow and just come out from the middle and bleed into that green a little bit. Don't have to do this, but I just think it's worth it. It just gives you sort of a more of a blend rather than a line. Okay, so if I just get a piece of kitchen towel, take my ink pad, you can see where I've got that different colour ink on here. Just rub the pad with your kitchen towel until it disappears. Next time you use it, if you're using it with just a yellow brush, like this one is just yellow, that green will not contaminate this. It's going to be yellow, not green. Okay, so please don't worry about a little bit of contamination. Obviously try and avoid it, but if it happens, don't panic. Okay, you can get around it. So just lift this up off here like so. Put that to one side. So you can see if you turn it over and cut it out, you could use the other side. Just as you could even use the other side as a stencil on card so that you've got it a different way, you know, so you'll get 2 or 3 uses out of that. Okay, so there's the black one, there's the white one. Now, as I say, they're exactly the same colours, but they just give you a totally different look. Yeah, so let's add them to the cards and just finish the cards off. I just move that out of the way. So I've got my 2 cards already made here. So this one I've used the scalloped rectangles to make my base card. Okay, and I've actually cut the 2 pieces together for the front and the back. Okay, because if you cut them together, they will seat together properly. I've got ink all over me hands now. They will seat together properly and they will match perfectly. If you cut one and then cut the other and put it back to front as opposed to front to back, do you know what I mean? So this is the front of the die. When I've taken it out of the die, this is the die that it's been face down and it's cut the card. Okay, and because I've cut the 2 together, this is the back. Okay, if you cut them separately and then try and match them, you might find that they don't quite line up. So I would try and cut 2 together, depending on the thickness of your card, obviously. Okay, so we're going black on white, like so. So if I just glue that down, and the other one I've used 5x7 card, and again I've cut the large scalloped rectangle and I've added that to my base card. So whilst the rectangles have formed my base card on this one, they've formed a frame on the other one. Okay, so again, a couple of different ways you can use those even. And like I said to you on Monday, Lisa's nested dies, second to none, they're brilliant. Okay, so that's that one. And then on this one, I'm going to put the white one down. So we've got black on white and then white on black. And again, I'm doing these flat rather than 3D in them, because I think sometimes it's good to just go basic and think about your postage costs rather than thinking about raising it up and making it look. If you're giving it to somebody, then obviously raise it up, 3D it, whatever you want to do. Okay, so then I've got black writing on a white sentiment background and I've backed it onto black card. That's going on this one. And then I've got white writing on a black sticker and I've backed it onto white card, which is going on that one. So now I've just got to decide where I want to put them. Do I want to put them in the middle? Or do I want to put them there? Now you move stuff around on a card and all of a sudden it just goes, yeah, that's the right place. Well, that's how I usually place my sentiments. I'll just move it around the card till I'm happy with where it looks, I think, to my eye, where it looks right. Okay, so I'm going to take that just inside that black frame so that it is still white on black. And then this one, again, I think I'll probably go with the same place. Or will I go over there? Do you know, I might go over there. I think we'll go there. Just to make it look a little bit different to the black one, we'll just put the sentiment in a different place. I mean, there are longer sentiments. If you wanted to use a longer one and go sort of at the top of the card or the bottom, slightly off centre. I always think a sentiment looks nice sort of off centre rather than fully central on a card, but that's just me. Okay, so that's those two, stenciled beautifully with those fabulous interference inks. And now the other two, one paper pieced, one just cut on the diagonal using whatever you've got as your background. So on this occasion it was a shaving foam background, and I've got lots of those, so you know I might be using those a lot in the next few days. So there you go, 4 cards, a little bit more inspiration, a few more ideas for you using your Edgecutz dies. So Lisa will be with you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for her live as per usual, so don't be late for that. I'm sure she's got lots to tell you. I know she's had a very busy week. Hope you all caught the HSN show. Wasn't it amazing? So yeah, 7 o'clock. No, it's not. 6:30. What am I saying? 6:30 tomorrow night. Don't be late. 6:30. We will put a reminder in, and I know Lisa will do a little banner as well. So 6:30. One on black and then the same on white. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it, Sandy? Because I think it just gives you that totally different look. And on first glance, you probably wouldn't think it's the same thing, but you know, just a little different idea. And of course, it saves you getting loads of different inks out as well. So there you go. So I will love you and leave you there. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you all very soon. Have a fabulous weekend. And I'll see you around at Lisa's tomorrow, 6:30. See you soon. Bye now.